Welcome back to the House of Run podcast, everyone. I'm Kevin Sully. Joined
House
by
of
Gordon
Run?
Mack. Oh, sorry. FloTrack podcast. That's the other podcast I do. We are live. We are back. I'm a little
Can't redo
disheveled.
it.
I'm a little disheveled here, Gordon. I'm not going to lie, because about 2 minutes ago, I got a text from someone that says, "Let me know if you need help moving out of your house." So that's where I'm at. That's where my mentality is at. You're in a very dark room. You're in a very dark room
I am.
right now.
There's only one light. It's there, but I'm doing my best. You guys can figure it out that it's me. I mean, if you're listening to the audio, who cares, right? You're fine. But if you're
Yeah.
watching on
If you're
video, you don't need to see my face anyway. No one needs to see my face. It's not about me. It's about you losing your house because Noah Lyles got third in the 200. But do we want to talk about the 200 or do we want to talk about? I think we need to talk about yesterday first or last night.
Of
right?
course. Of course. Of course. I
Yes.
was just reacting. Listen, when you press record like 6 minutes after this race ends, your natural tendency is going to at least mention the race that just happened. And DeGrasse finally getting his gold. Kenny Bednarick, silver. Lyles, bronze. Wild race for sure. Thanks everybody who's watching on the YouTube live stream. You can comment in the chat. Subscribe to the FloTrack podcast YouTube channel. But you're right. Let's start with the 400-meter hurdles from last night. By the way, U.S. primetime viewers lucked out. The two best races of this entire meet just happened to be morning finals in Tokyo, which are night finals in the U.S. So we were treated to back-to-back days of just spectacular 400-meter finals. Sydney Mclaughlin.
I think that was done by design. That was done by design.
No, they built the schedule way earlier. They could not have possibly known that this was going to happen. Maybe in the back of their head, they knew that it was a possibility, but I don't think they could have dreamed that they would have come up with these sort of races. Mclaughlin smashes her world record, 51:46. Dalila Muhammad, 51:58. Femke Bol, third place, 52:03. And in a nod to Alison Dos Santos for the men's 400-meter hurdles, breaks what would have been the world record coming into this season, but gets bronze. So we have the three fastest people of all time in one race. And this was spectacular, Gordon. You had Muhammad on the outside of Mclaughlin. She got off to a really strong start, led basically the entire way around. Sydney made that push off that last hurdle and had enough to get by. It was tight all the way through. And these two, 4 championship races now over the last 2 years, world record, world record, world record, world record. It's unreal.
When is it going to end? Are we going to keep like normally when you see a world record, you think that's a once in a generation type race. But you rarely see the same two people keep beating up on each other. And every time they beat each other, they're not just beating each other, but they're beating world record all-time marks. It's incredible. And I think I'm going to already tie this to the men's 400 hurdles, but I think there's something about the 400 hurdles these past 5 years that we just I think there's, for some reason, track fans, just the world, society got lucky that all-time great quarter milers decided to put all their efforts into the 400 hurdles. Like, there could have been a road where Sydney, Dalila, Karsten, Rye just like aren't into the hurdling thing and decide to just put all their talent and try to run fast 400s, try to, be making 400-meter teams, running on the 4x4 and all that stuff. But the fact that they decided to like take that extra effort, realize that they had the skill set to be able to go do this over 10 hurdles. Yeah. It's just incredible. And that's why we're seeing incredible drops in times. You look at this stat I put up. Karsten Warholm was 142nd in the world with his 400 hurdle mark as a flat time. Sydney and Dalila are both in the top 70 in the 400 meters with their 400 meter hurdle mark compared to other people's flat times. It's incredible. And I think it's just maybe I think this is history just trying to recorrect itself And now that we have even better, more talented athletes putting more love into the hurdles, we're going to start seeing these marks drop. And also, what you need is you can't just have one person do it. You need 2 to 3, because when there's 2 people, you push each other. And basically, Sydney is running 51 mid, and DeLille is running 51 mid because the other one exists. They know they need to. If the other one didn't exist, they would be running 52 mid, right? They wouldn't need to push the boundaries to see where they could go. And Delilah is just as responsible for this incredible race as much as Sydney is. And it's kind of wild to just project Sydney's future because she's 10 years younger than Delilah. She's like 21. And a prime runner is like what, 22 to 26? So Sydney has yet to even enter a prime. It's incredible. It's mind-boggling.
And also the presence of Bowl there, because she was in the mix too. So that first 300 meters, especially, it was a real tight battle. When Muhammad was out there, Sydney had someone around her. Yeah, I was watching that race and I wasn't surprised that the world record went down, which is the best compliment I think you could give to people in this race. 51:46. Am I a little bit surprised by that? Yeah, I am. Like, that's a huge drop in time after 51:90 because they went toe to toe in Eugene, high pressure situation, what we think is a fast track in Eugene, and they take a big chunk off the world record. But then they go and then they do it again just a couple months later. That's what's the stunning part of this thing. And I think your point about yesterday about Warholm being in front of Benjamin, right? I think it was the same situation here with Muhammad being in front. I think it just pulled everybody around to a quicker time. But this thing was close. This thing was in doubt. I mean, with 100 to go, were you thinking Sydney had it that last 100, and were you surprised when 51:46 popped up?
It's crazy. I wasn't. I thought, I was like, we're gonna see something fast. I had
Mm-hmm.
after watching the men do it. I know that they're not connected in any way possible, but I just had this feeling of these vibes that we're just going to continue to see fast marks. And so 51:46, I was like, yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be not a 51:89 or 51:9 right near the world record. I was like, no, they're just gonna go crazy, because in the end, U.S. trials is a world record, but it's still just a qualifying race. It's still just be top 3.
Yeah.
Like, in the end of the day, I don't think Delilah is going to lose sleep over getting second at USA's the way she would getting second at the Olympics. So they, as much as the world record was incredible at the trials, they weren't pushing themselves clearly, because they could go a whole almost half second faster.
I remember when the first time this record was broken in this era, and it was Des Moines 2019, and Muhammad, won somewhat comfortably over Sydney there, but Sydney ran a great time to finish second. And I talked to Muhammad's coach after the race, Boogie Johnson, and I did the same thing that most people do. It's like you pick the next barrier, right? Okay, is sub 52 possible? And he's like, yeah, it's 100% possible. Like, that's something that is on our radar for sure. Which now it seems like such a dumb question on my part, because they've knocked a half a second off of 52. It's not even close. It's not as if 51:90 was the end of this era's progression. It's like you took it down a whole other notch here when you go 51 mid. To continue the parallels though, this is really interesting. So you have obviously the world record getting smashed. You have the presence of the rival. You have the third place person either being the luckiest or unluckiest, depending on how you look at it, third place finisher in history. So, but I went back, Gordon, like 20, going into 2019, before the men's world record went down and before the women's world record went down for the first time by Muhammad. And I looked at the times going in, like, just to see the percent improvement. So basically 46.78 for the men, down to 45.94. And for the women, when it was 52 52.3, down to 51.46. And this is crazy. The men improved the record 1.79%, and the women improved it 1.68%. So extremely close. Like the level of improvement from the old record, which for the men, went back a while. For the women, it was a pretty old record as well too. But the percent improvement was pretty much right in line too. So these two, they're close to like mirror images of each other in a way. The one difference, the one nod I'll give to the women's race for sure is just the back and forth nature of it. And the fact that because they're both Americans, we see them at least 2 times against each other. And now we've seen them collaborate on 4 world records in 4 championship races.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm almost lost for it. It's like you don't know what else to add to it. I can just add my personal thing is I won a few bucks because Muhammad beat Bull and I had minus 118, so I won $85. So my journey to not lose money is looked good after this 400-meter hurdles.
Yeah, all time, Muhammad 6, Mclaughlin 4, and this is where I really love the fact that we're going to have a world championship next year, the year after, and then an Olympics, because if they keep going, it's going to be special. And the presence of Bull there, who's also in the very, very early stages of her career, she runs 52.0. What does she think's possible now, right? She didn't grow up thinking sub 52 was this mythical thing. Now she thinks sub 52 is what she needs to do to get a gold medal. So just the whole mindset of the event has changed over the last 2 years, and especially this past year.
So here's the question I have for you. Obviously, while Sydney was on her up and coming, she was a 16-year-old at the Olympics. Delila was the one winning the Olympic medals. Delila was the one breaking the world records first. She did it twice, I believe, right? And Sydney was kind of just always in the rearview mirror, be like, I'm the next one in line because obviously Delila's 10 years older. Now that we've seen this whole season, we see back-to-back world record races where now Sydney comes up on top.
Mm-hmm.
So Sydney's kind of like on a little mini win streak against Delila. Do you think Delila will ever beat Sydney again? Assuming Sydney's like healthy, right? So, but like, do you think we're gonna go back and forth, or do you think now because of the age gap and Sydney now just entering her prime, the odds of Delila ever getting back to being in front of Sydney are slim to none, or do you think this is gonna be back and forth, back and forth?
I think she can beat her again. I mean, she lost by 0.14, and then she beat her own PB by over a half second. She's still getting better. I think that Eugene race would have been really interesting if Muhammad had a better buildup. We know she had COVID, tore her hamstring. So, no, I mean, I would say Mclaughlin is the favorite moving forward, but did you see how close it was coming off that last hurdle? I mean, this was not a blowout by any means. It wasn't as close. What was the margin in Doha? Travis, can you pull up the margin in Doha? It was closer.
It was bigger.
Than
I think it was bigger.
No,
Doha,
I thought
right?
world champ. There you go, 52.23 to no, it was 0.07. It was 0.07 in Doha, and this was 0.12. So we've seen them race and be closer to one another. But yeah, 100%. To answer your question, 100%. I think Muhammad can win again. I think Mclaughlin will rightfully be the favorite going into 22, but I think she can for sure win again because 10th here, a 10th there. She's right back. She's right back in this thing. What do you think?
I think it's over. I think Sydney's gonna just win every time. I think this was Delila's last kind of opportunity to kind of hold on to that mantle, and I think that opportunity is gonna be gone. Sydney's not getting any young.
Yeah, but
not getting any older. She's gonna be 20. I just if Sydney stays healthy and Delila, I just don't see a situation where Sydney digresses, and I think Sydney's gonna run faster. Like I think she can run. I mean, I could say in 4 years, if she keeps on staying healthy and she's focused on this event, I can see a 50.99. Like, why not? if we're able to
Mhm.
see the world record get smashed this much, I could see it happening again. They're just figuring out a ways to be as efficient as possible, going over
Yeah.
these hurdles. And if Sydney is like a flat 48 low, what is, does she need? I think she could get over 10 barriers in with the extra 3 seconds, right?
Mhm. Well,
So
you just turned her into a 48 low 400-meter run. You're making a lot of assumptions here. Here's one assumption I'll make. I'm not going to count out someone who runs 51.5 in the 400 hurdles.
true,
I'm
true.
not going to do that. She's run 51.5, and again, you put down the caveat of like health. It's like, yeah, obviously, if there's some sort of massive injury where you miss a championship or you have no buildup, that's going to change things. But little hiccups along the way are natural when it comes to the sport and at this level. So there's no guarantee that everybody's build up's gonna be perfect, and we saw that with Muhammad this year. So if a similar type of issue crops up for Sydney in the future, which is possible, and she's not at 100%, but she's at 98%. You've already seen how solid Muhammad is. I don't know like how many years she wants to keep doing it. A question that I always have in my mind, and you have this question too, because you'd love to talk about people switching events, is will Sydney in the future, and if she does, when would it be? Go try a different event. Would she be interested in that? Does it represent a new challenge for her? Or does she feel like, hey, this is my calling here, and I'm going to stick in the 400 hurdles for the entirety of my career.
Yeah, you broke up a bit on your little rant for me, so I'm just gonna take what you said and agree.
Good. I was right. Hey, one other thing on this race. Did you watch the post race interview with Sydney? Did you hear the first thing that she said?
Trust? Did you say trust the process?
The first three words out of her mouth were trust the process. So there you go.
She's a big
There
Joel
you go.
Embiid fan. That's what I hear. Big Joel Embiid
She
fan.
did not. She did not say in the post race interview pressure is an illusion, but there was some trusting of the
Ah,
process. There was a lot of iron sharpening iron. Heard that a couple times too. But I think pressure is an illusion is the one you want to bring back. A personal favorite of Gordon's. All right, you ready to move
talk a
on?
little bit about the men. Yeah, let's talk about the men's 200. It's already 20 minutes into pod. I feel like we've
Oh
been
wow,
going. We've been yeah. It's 9:22, man. We gotta keep going.
I lost
Uh,
I lost track of time. I lost track of time.
I know you don't want to talk about this event because you put your house
No, it was
on Noah
great.
Lyles winning this race. And over time, the writing was on the wall, but he tried to find little caveats here and there, like Noah winning the 200 at the trials.
Hmm.
But when push came to shove, looking at the way he ran the first two rounds, especially the semifinals, him getting that lane 3 draw, I think, screwed him over. He wasn't able to have the too sharp of a turn in the first,
Hmm.
100 meters. And I think that's all he wrote. I feel like if he would have been in lane 6 or lane 5, this might have been a different story. But even then, I mean, DeGrasse runs 1962.
Yeah.
Bednarick runs 1968. Lyles still runs a good time, 1974. I think this just was destiny for DeGrasse based off his 100-meter performance, getting third there, and then just running an incredible PB here in 19.6.
Yeah. I To win this race, Lyles needed to be the 2019 Lyles, 2018 Lyles. Like he needed to be at or very, very, very close to the best we've seen from him to win it. And we haven't seen evidence of that this year. But let's talk about DeGrasse. Credit to DeGrasse. He's the one who won this. He got the gold medal. He earned it. You look at his career 2015, bronze. 2016, gets a bronze and a silver. 2017, do you remember 2017? 2017 was the
No,
year. Well, that was the year Bolt ends up losing. He gets beat at the World Championships by Gatlin and Christian Coleman. Where was Andre DeGrasse that year? That was the year he got hurt, right? In the lead up. And you thought, oh my gosh, that was his chance to potentially like beat Bolt, to move to get that gold medal, right? Because Bolt was looking a bit vulnerable as well too. But right before the World Championship started, he had a hamstring injury, so he's not there. And then someone does beat Bolt, but it's not him. Then you look at 2019, bronze and silver in the two individual events. Fast forward to this championship, 2021 gets bronze in the 100. I mean, it was an incredible clutch performance from a guy who's been so close for so many years, brings out the best 200 of his life at the perfect time, and wins gold. I mean, just the ultimate clutch performance here for DeGrasse to come up with a 1962 when he needed it most, and so many times being really really close. Just a cool story over the last but 6 years, going back to the 2015 World Championships.
Yeah, I mean, he's been like he started off his career in an incredible way with his back and forth with Trayvon Bromell in the NCAA days, and like you said, it started with that bronze in 2015, which actually was a bronze they tied with Trayvon, and then they
Mm-hmm.
kind of went two different paths. One went down the crazy injury path. DeGrasse went down the always a bridesmaid, never the bride type path, always coming up
Mm-hmm.
short, and finally in the final race here of the Olympics after getting another bronze in the 100, pulls off the gold. And it's a well earned gold. It's not a weak, dare I say, like Guliev type gold where, everyone drops out of the 200. There were some real studs in this field and Bednarick, Lyles, Knighton,
Mm-hmm.
and a few others. So it's a legitimate win. And hey, I think he's still young. He's what, Bromel's age, so
Mm-hmm.
he's in his mid-20s. I think he should be the favorite. I think going into 2022, if not just a 200, maybe even in the 100, right? Because the 100 is Jacobs going to continue his dominance. Fred Curley is just a wild card in general. I'll never count him
Mm-hmm.
out, but he's still just a wild card. And then you obviously have Coleman coming off of 2 years of not running, Bromell being injured. So this could be DeGrasse's like 3-year reign potential, right? In my opinion. So
Well, we know at the very least he's going to be in the mix because he's
yes,
always been in the mix, and now he's shown that he can get the gold. And some of those silvers were to Bolt, so you put an asterisk on that. It's like, oh, you just happen to be going against the greatest men's sprinter of all time. Kenny Bednarick there. Kenny Bednarick in in the silver medal position. I mean, what a story for him. He comes up with a huge race too, 1968. Um, I mean, you pointed out going into these championships rightfully. So just how consistent Bednarick has been this year. He's been racing a lot. Has never really had a bad race this year. Pushed Lyles a couple times. Finally beats him. Comes up a little bit short to DeGrasse, but 2019 he had a weird season. Remember, he made the 200-meter world championship team based on his semifinal performance, where he actually got hurt in because people didn't have the standard and they kept going back to the next guy, to the next guy, to the next guy, and ended up being Kenny Bednarick. And then he goes to Doha and struggles there. But just an amazing story when you look at where he came from, JUCO product. I remember going to film a workout with him in that same year in 2019 in Ottumwa, Iowa. Went to Indian Hills Community College. Gordon, for the workout, he didn't have his spikes with him. It was the last meet before their workout before JUCO champs, and he had one pair of spikes. He put it on the trailer that was already driving all the way to New Mexico, and then he had another pair, but he had lent them to a friend. So I think he did 2 or 3 150s in trainers. It was just incredible, and it just sort of gave you. And it was funny because then I watch USA's and I watch him make the Doha team, and I'm just thinking, well, I know at least what one of his workouts looked like in May, and I was contrasting that to now he's running against the best guys in the world, just how different their journeys have been. But for the last 2 years now, he's been a bona fide pro, and now has a medal to back it up. So big race for Kenny Bednarick at the big stage.
you gonna give me a little bit of respect for ranking Kenny B above Noah Lyles in my FloTrack rankings?
So if we go back, we look at the tape, clearly said Bednarick can beat Lyles in Tokyo, but he should not be ranked ahead of him. And we talked about the difference between rankings and predictions because Lyles was 2-0 against him this year, had the fastest time, uh, had the faster time of the two. So I mean, I'll give you credit.
Faster win legal time.
Excuse me. Yes, faster wind legal time of the two this year, but I'll give you credit for not discounting him. That's for sure. That's for sure. So I got a question for you, just on big picture, and then we could talk about Knighton, and then move on to the other races here. Does it? So this whole thing gets looked at from the U.S. from a very binary perspective, meaning gold or not. Did they win gold or didn't they? And then you look at the 100 and you look at the 200 for the men, and Jacobs pulls the upset. Fred Curley gets the silver, which was a crazy performance. Then you go into the 200, and you got DeGrasse getting that gold, and then U.S. going 2-3 here. But they weren't able to get gold. But like when you look at the U.S. and what they had and what they brought to Tokyo, obviously Lyle's not being the Lyles that we've seen in 2019 hurts. Same with Bromell hurts. But I don't know. I guess how do you look at it? Because you see like this tweet, like U.S. men no gold medals yet in track and field. But like Ry Benjamin ran the race of his life. You know, like Kenny Bednarick ran insanely fast. And just came up short to a better guy. Like U.S. still gets two medals out of the men's 200. I just think things get blown up real big, but it's tough because it's like, well, Carson Warholm was there. You know what I'm saying? Like it just like that's like you have to take into account the competition and just not just first, but like how are they doing big picture? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, all these tweets are saying they're doing it for likes and retweets, and it's fun to be like, "Hey, 0 golds," because people. I mean, it's just trying to appease to the people who don't think about the details, who don't think about nuance. It's my whole thing of why Cheserek deserved the Bowerman. Everyone was like Jerry and Lawson. He
Uh-oh.
did the next thing. He did what Jesse Owens did by winning the 100, the 200, and long jump. And
I
like,
knew
no,
you'd
well,
get back to
Cheserek
Chaz.
won five NCAA titles, and Lawson only won his 3 titles NCAAs because one of the LSU athletes got hurt. Bromell and DeGrasse both went pro early, so he was able to win the 100 in like 10.1. Cool. That's what they're doing here. They're like, oh, no golds, you suck. I'm like, no, Ry Benjamin doesn't suck. Oh, no golds, you suck. Well, Christian Coleman doesn't suck. Bromell doesn't suck. But what sucks is the situation that they're both in with being hurt and being out because of whereabouts failures. And then also the guys who actually did show up. Curley does not suck. Just Jacobs had a weird, wild, once-in-a-lifetime type performance. And Bednarick doesn't suck. DeGrasse is just back into good form, and he's good. Like, whatever. It's just stupid. You ignore that.
I mean,
like,
I get it.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Like, I get it from the perspective of, okay, Bolt's not, you had this person, this transformational figure there. In the same way you could say Mo Farah, right? Mo Farah occupied that 5 and 10 slot for all those years. Now they're not there. Who's going to take advantage? But what I think is worth pointing out is there's no real Bolt on the horizon. So it's not as if this is the only window for the United States. They'll go into next year, I'm sure, with a bunch of chances with a bunch of people who are gold medal candidates in the sprints. 200, same thing, into 2023, into 2024. Like there's no, that we can see right now, there's no Bolt cropping up. And, you just had a situation where you had a 17-year-old finish 4th in a 200-meter final. So the future is okay for the U.S. Also, Krauser's still going to go, right? You have Grant Holloway coming. Like the meet's not over yet either, right?
Well,
That's the other.
Put up the
other part
Tim
of this.
Layden tweet again, Travis. Put up the Tim Layden tweet if you can, wherever it is. It's a bullshit tweet. Bolt retired and made the Olympic 100 and 200 meter golds. USA got neither. Yeah, you know what happened after 2016? Oh yeah, 2017, an American straight up beat Bolt in the 100. Then in 2019, an American won gold. And then in 2021, that American wasn't there because he went to get Chipotle. That is why we don't have the Olympic gold. You can all these people who
Well,
just come up with stats that
it's
are only every 4 year base with this whole Olympic thing. It's bullshit. There's no difference between an Olympic final and a global world championship final. It's the exact same people. They qualify the exact same way. They run the exact same type of times. This whole like, oh, 3/4 of your life don't matter. The only we care about this. It's stupid. So Tim Layden, you got your little retweets. You got your little hot take like USA sucks, but they don't. They're better than. I'm sorry, but
I don't
winning in
think that's what he's saying.
2017, winning in
I don't think that's what he's
2019,
saying.
and yeah.
I don't think that's what he's saying.
That is what he's saying. No,
No.
what he's saying is he knows people aren't going to look at the details, and it's him trying to be like USA sucks. He knows that Christian Coleman isn't there. He knows Romel's hurt, and he knows that USA won in 17 and won in 19. He knows that, but he puts up that tweet. That's what he did.
No,
he knows that.
I don't think. No. He covers the sport. He's one of the best writers in the sport. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying that Olympics do have a bigger influence than world championships. Like that's just undoubtedly true, right? Be it the eyeballs, be it the money that's attached to it. That's what he's saying. And here's this big stage. Bolt's not there. They couldn't take advantage of it. All I'm saying is that when you just have gold, like you don't look at like the performances like Knighton, for example, where you have a 17-year-old, youngest guy ever making the final. Did I hear that stat right? In history? Is that correct? Like there's never been a 17-year-old in a running event that made it, right? And it's like we're not sure there's gonna be another Bolt that's gonna come up. So I don't think it says much about US. Like what I'm saying is I don't think it says it's true, and I disagree that world championships and Olympics are the same in terms of public perception. I think athletes look at them and they try to focus on them the same way. But in terms of the stage, the pressure, the stakes, all that's different. But I don't think it says anything about like the state of US sprinting. That's all. That's the only reason I brought it up. Is that
Yeah.
I think the US is in a fine position. So I disagree with you on that part of it. But let's talk about Knighton real quick before we move on. What did you? I mean, he just puts his nose in there again. Doesn't come away with a medal, but 17-year-old getting fourth is insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I guess, the best result you could probably think of, right? Outside of if you were to medal, it's like incredible, but it makes sense for him to finish fourth in this race. I mean, there's a lot of seasoned vets above him, and he still ran a good race. He ran sub 20, 1993. You got to respect that. He's ready to kind of take on in the next few years. You just hope there's not like a regression, because maybe you get all the success so early in your first year, you feel like it starts becoming a little too easy for you, and then you might get a little distracted. I mean, these kids are young, right? You look at Sydney Mclaughlin, right? She makes the Olympics at 16. It takes her like 5 years to become the focused type of world beater she's become. It doesn't happen overnight. And Arian Knighton might have to go through a little of like figuring out his way through the waters as a young runner. And then maybe it won't be till he is 20, 21 where he's able to run the way DeGrasse runs and be consistent and be able to, put his name in the record books. But it's a good start. If you're going to start your Olympic career with the fourth place finish, it's pretty good, because that means if you do better the next time around, it means you're medaling. So
yeah,
good way to start.
There's no guarantees, as we know, in this sport, but what's impressed me this year is just the consistency that he's showed. It's not as if he ran one really fast time in Olympic trials and then got to the Olympics and went out in the first round. He's just been so solid this year, and he's so new to the sport. Because when I was thinking about what makes this so surprising, it's just most people didn't know his name until, if you're really paying attention, 2020, but people didn't know him before that. Compared to the other superstars that we've seen, like Athing Mu and Sydney Mclaughlin, we knew them at a much younger age, but we're just now getting acquainted to to Arian Knighton, and it's been a really quick rise to an Olympic final and a fourth place finish.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. He still has eligibility for AA Junior Olympic Games, right? Those are going on. He's going to hop on a plane and jump in the 17 to 18 AAU 200 meter final. I think they leave a lane open for him, right? They're like, hey, if you want to come, you get a bye to the final. We'll let the fourth place Olympian into our AAU Junior Olympic Games.
All right, women's steeple. Perith Chemutai of Uganda gets the gold. Really exciting second half of this race because American Courtney Frericks goes to the front with about 4 laps to go and pushes the pace, breaks the field wide open. She held that lead until the last lap when Chemutai caught her, but Frericks was still able to hold on for silver, second silver of her career after 2017. This was a big move, a bold move. You had Kiyang getting the bronze there. Americans Emma Coburn and Val Consian will finish farther back. Coburn, once Frericks made the big move, Coburn drifted back, fell over a barrier, and then actually was disqualified. Consian finishes in 12th. World record holder Beatrice Chepkoech was a non-factor too. She finishes 7th in 9:16. So Frericks gets it done again, but a big run for Chemutai, who coming into this year hadn't broken 9:20 in the steeple and runs 9:01 in the Olympic final.
Yeah, steeple can be weird like that, right? You got the don't break 9:20, and then now you're winning the Olympics in 9:01, and you can, and then another athlete with an 8:46 PB, which is like so much better than everyone. Like, they will be at the water pit when she's crossing the finish line. Like Chepkoech, she finishes in a non-factor 7th place.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to give up the Frericks with the move she made. A lot of times those things don't work. A lot of times you're like, everyone thinks it's gonna work, but it never does. When you make that move, it's like I got no other option. I'm going for broke. Let's see what happens. And it's like kind of like a Hail Mary type move. And the Hail Mary was a touchdown. It got caught, right? It was able to result in her being able to spread out the field enough that there wasn't enough bodies for them to pass, for 3 people to pass her in that final lap. And she was able to pull out yet another global medal. Very impressive for Courtney Frericks. I would have expected Coburn to be in that medal position the way Coburn ran at the Olympic trials. It wasn't even close between Coburn and Frericks. But Frericks found a way to put her best performance on August of 2021, and she gets a medal out of it.
Yeah, for Coburn, just like I said, when that move was made, it put stress on the entire field, and she was drifting back, and then was out of it, and then hit the barrier to add insult to injury. So just obviously not her day, but you look at her over the last, like, she's so consistent. Like, we talk about the championship medals, but look at the Olympic trials performances. Look at how she does in these diamond leagues. Like, she's always so solid, which was what made this a bit surprising. And I'm guessing if she comes back this year to race more, we're going to see her revert to that form. This was an outlier performance for her. Most times when people run like a low, a 9:08 or get a silver medal or bronze medal, it's like, oh, that's their outlier performance. With Coburn, it's like that was becoming the norm. Like, she just was ticking off all these fast times and all these big meet performances. But hey, everybody, these championships have proven, these Olympics have proven, it's like you can't expect that every single time. Like, as outsiders, we can't expect people to be perfect every single season and getting the max out of themselves. Like, they're human beings. They're going to have bad races, and sometimes they're going to come at the times when you are, when they want to perform the most. Like, that's just natural. So it's tough for her. But Frericks now, she's got the American record, got 2 silvers. Just another solid performance for Frericks. And I think, would that be that's the first Bowerman medal? Am I right on that? I know they still have the women's, you still have the women's 15 with Gabrielle W. Stafford. You still have the men's 5,000. You have the women's 10,000. left, and obviously the men's 15 with Centrowitz too. I think that's the first medal.
Yeah, it's the first medal. It might be the only medal, right? Might be the only medal.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. And I guess if you look on paper, it probably was the best chance for a medal going in, just how well Frericks had run. But yeah, they got Fisher and Kincaid. They got Centro. They got Mohamed. They got Debut Stafford. So they got a lot of chances still here to get a medal. Let's talk about the men's 800. The men's 800. We thought it would be unpredictable and wild, and it was exactly that. With Emmanuel Courier getting the gold. Emmanuel Courier, gold medalist. It was tactical. I think the 800 on the men's side and the 1500 have just switched places. Instead of tactical 15s, we get really fast 15s, and now instead of really fast 8s, we get tactical ones. They got in 53. Courier up there near the front, played his hand perfectly, comes up with a gold. Rotich was cutting this way, cutting that way on the last 50, last 100 basically, gets up for silver. So Kenya goes 1-2, 1:45:23. Dobek of Poland, former hurdler, runs 1:45:39. Peter Boll, who did a lot of early leading, is in fourth. Nigel Amos, who had the fastest time in the world this year and got in via protest, was eighth in 1:46:41. And Clayton Murphy finishes ninth in 1:46:53. I think when the move, he was far back the entire way. And when that move got made, he had to go around a lot of bodies and was really never in that medal contention.
First of all, I've been a huge Emmanuel Courier fan since his freshman days at UTEP. Went out and filmed the workout with him and his training partner, Michael Cerrone. Paul Ehring is his coach, who is a great 800-meter runner himself. And I was always on the Courier as the next David Rudisha train early on. I was like trying to project his, like, compare and contrast the times he ran at certain ages and years of being relevant. But then Courier kind of was dealing with some injuries, and that whole dream of him being the next great 800-meter runner in the world kind of went away. I kind of started leaning into that Donovan Brazier could be that guy, the one who can lead the charge for like a good 4 to 6 year gap. But Courier winning this, I was shocked. If you told me Courier wins the Olympic gold 4 years ago, I would be like, yeah, that's 100% happening, because I was so all in on the Courier.
You got off the bandwagon at the wrong time.
I got off it. I got off the wrong time. But if you tell me he wins 800, but if you tell me he would win it yesterday, I would be like, okay, yeah, maybe. But if you tell me he was going to win it after the first lap of this race, I would be like, no, that's not happening. He's not going to win a slow 800. He's not going to win an 800 that goes out in 53. That is for someone like a Clayton Murphy or another good kicker like Tuca, someone like that. Just gonna be a lot more random. The Amos and Courier are not going to do well. The 142 guys aren't going to do well in an opening 53-second lap. And Amos was one of them, so that worked out. But for some reason, Courier was able to keep his position, and maybe his 400-meter speed worked out for him. In that final 100, he looked like a 400-meter runner, just going to the arms and bobbing his head, and it was able to work out. I think the reason why Courier won is because he had the best position. 53-second opening, everyone can close equally. It's just who has the position at the right moment, and Courier was that guy.
Yeah, he was.
Tweeted Courier's first Olympic men's 800 champ that ran in the NCAA since 1988. A very un-Murphy race. The very wrong. Oh, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, first Olympic men's 800 champ from the NCAA.
Yeah, which you thought there might be more of them, just because you think the rounds and the tactics would help. But it was. I think you're right. The positioning was so important in a race like that. You want to be in the right spot when the music stops playing, and you can, race to the finish line. And that's exactly where he was, and he took advantage. But we knew going in this was going to be an unpredictable 800. In fact, I think this is actually more predictable than I thought, because guy who had the second fastest time. He was second to Monaco, and then we had seen Rotich was tearing up throughout the rounds. Rotich had won medals before. He makes all the finals. Like him being in the medals isn't surprising. And Dobek was a non-commodity, a known commodity. Excuse me. So this wasn't as shocking as I thought it could be. I thought we could get someone really, really random. Of course, if you told me last year or 2 years ago when he didn't even make the final in Doha that he's going to be there, I'd be a bit surprised. But I probably would have assumed at that point that Brazier was the gold medalist. Yeah, tactical race, tactical 800. We didn't see it in the women's 800. We haven't seen any real tactics in any of these 1500 heats, but there it was in the 800.
Yeah, now it's 4 straight Olympic titles in the men's 800. Something that
and
we
Paul
thought
Ellering,
that streak would end.
His coach.
Yeah, Paul Ellering
has a goal too.
Was an 80. What was Ellering? He was an 88. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it makes sense that Courier wins it, but it also doesn't make sense that he wins it because just the way these 800s go, you're just like, it's never going to go too much to form. You expect chaos. I expected chaos. Clayton Murphy was 10-1 odds, so I put $100 on Clayton Murphy to win to get $1,000, but it didn't work out. I was thinking maybe I should tweet at him, "Hey, I got 10-1 odds on you. If you win, I'll give the $1,000 to one of your charities." But then I didn't do that because I was a little greedy. I was like, I just want $1,000 to myself, and look what it got me. It got me $0. So
yeah,
that's the lesson you learn, boys and girls. When you gamble, make sure you're gambling for charity, not for yourself.
I'm sure that's what the difference was there. Okay, let's go to some semis here, and then we'll do the field events and the multis. I mentioned how fast the 15 was. That first heat was insane for the women. Kipyegon wins the semi in 3:56. The times across the board were absolutely bananas. You see that Jessica Hull in fourth breaks the Australian national record, runs 3:58. But you have Greber Ziba here who runs 3:57. Gabrielle Stafford 3:58. Tanaka sets a Japanese record, runs 3:59. And then you got the two non-auto qualifiers in there with Perrier St. Pierre leading the way. So then the second heat was a bit slower with Sifan Hassan and Laura Muir. Should also mention too, in that first heat there was a fall involving Corey Mcgee, and she got put in the final too. So the United States will have two finalists there. But that first heat was just unreal. It's almost like Kipyegon thought Hassan was in her heat, and she's thinking, I'm going to make her work. I know she's got all these races in her legs, all these races to go. I'm going to make her work. But instead, she just put everybody through the ringer there. I mean, she made sure that she got all the non-autos out of her heat, which I guess is good. But 3:56 in a semi? Are you kidding? I know for a 3:51 person, you're not going to the well, but 3:56 in a semi is a statement.
I think it's also more of just a security blanket. It's like, I don't want to play no games. I don't want some chaos. I'm seeing so many people fall or get outboxed or whatever. I think that was just her being like, let's just keep this simple, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to run something that I know 4 more people can't beat. I'm going to run 3:56 and then go into the final. That's the way I look at it. I think it was like, let's just simplify these rounds. Let's not overcomplicate it with, are you in the fast heat? Are you in the slow heat? Let's just keep it simple and let's qualify on time with a big Q. So that's what I looked at it. I don't think it showed that she's ready to like run incredibly fast in the final. I think it was her just saying, I don't want to play any games in the semis. I just want to make sure I'm on the starting line in the final. That's the way I looked at it.
I think it also means she's going to run incredibly fast in the final. I think it could be both.
True. Yeah.
Both things.
100%. Yeah.
Well, I just wonder, hey, is she going to have a tough time recovering from that? I know they have a couple days, but Hassan ran 4 seconds slower there, and Muir, they look like they were cruising in their heat. Now we should say, if you're tracking the Hassanathon at home, she's got 1,300 meters down with 10,150 to go. So she's got a 10,000 and a 1,500 meter final. That's all that's left. So no more heats for Sifan Hassan. It's all about finals now on those last 2 days, the 15 and then the 10 on the last day. Yeah,
You meant
Courier
11,050. That's what you meant.
11,000, not 10,000. Yeah, they're not running a 50 for that last one. That although I might take her in that one.
Yeah.
If it was her in a 50 versus everybody else in this field, I might take Sifan Hassan.
Do you think you could win a? Do you think you could? You can't beat Sifan Hassan in a 50-meter dash. You can't.
No, I can't beat her in anything. No, 100% no. No,
Maybe
no.
10 yards. 10 yards if you you time it right.
I'm a little taller than her.
Maybe I could do it.
Yeah, I'm a little taller than her. I could beat her in something that require you need to get like that thing off of a shelf that's pretty high up. I might be able to beat her like at that, but that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else that I could do better than Sifan Hassan. So Poirier St. Pierre, I mean, she was just in that crazy fast heat. She gets a small queue. And listen, we don't know how the final's going to go. I'm assuming it's going to be fast, but you don't know how the final's going to go. So we have to always fall back to it's a 1,500-meter final. Anything can happen in it. So there's 2 Americans in the final.
I got $50 on El Courier at 100-1 odds. So if L wins, I win $5,000. It's not going to happen, but if it did, I'll give some of that to charity. How about that? I'll give half of it to charity. I'll give it to some like milk, whatchamacallit, like conservation. She's really into milk and dairy cows. So I'll help her out. So if you win, you can have half of it. $2,500. Boom. And I'll do it. I 100% will do it. If she's watching this, so I'm gonna bring up the clip and we'll make it happen.
All right. Women's 400 semis. These were also quick. Every qualifier ran sub 50. 5 of the 8 qualifiers actually ran their PR in the semi. Paulino of Dominican Republic continues her really good meet. She ran 49.38 in the first heat. Shawnee Miller-Weibo won the second heat, 49.60. Third heat, McPherson had the fastest time with 49.34 in the third heat. So Paulino had that had the number 2 time there. Felix was in the third heat. She got the auto qualifier, ran a season's best and her fastest time since 2017 with a 49.89. So this is interesting, Gordon, because with that many people running that fast for all those PBs in the semis, it makes me think, man, did they put too much out there in the semis? They do, however, have 2 full days off before the final. So I don't know how much of a factor that is going to be versus, if it was a bang semi into final situation. But Miller-Weibo to me looked really relaxed. Obviously, I still think she's the favorite, but McPherson and Paulino have had a good meet so far.
Yeah, I mean, going into these Olympic Games, I looked at Felix and Hayes as like solid medal threats. But now as these prelims go along, and now that we have our final 8, Hayes, she got 4th in her heat. Felix, she qualified with a big Q, but look at that. She has the 7th fastest time going into the final based off of what people did in the semis. I don't know. Like the U.S. chances of medaling I feel like dwindled drastically based on the way these prelims have kind of played out. Because Miller-Weibo, she's going to medal. She's probably going to win. So there's only 2 spots, and the 2 Jamaicans are running fast. Obviously, the Dominican Republic athlete, Paulino, is running out of her mind. I don't know. I think the question is it going to come down to have the experience that Felix has of the grind and the pressure, being able to handle the pressure of an Olympic final? Or is it going to go to the newer comer people who are just like, well, I'm just running fast right now and I'm going to keep running fast. And Allison Felix, you can run 49 high all you want, but we're going to make third place need to run 49.3 and you can't get there, or is it going to be third place is a 49 high and people just kind of struggle, they deal with the illusion of the pressure, so that's why I'm wondering, is it going to be experience that wins the day, or is it going to be just pure talent that wins the day? We know Shawnee has the talent and the experience, so no matter what, she wins the day. But Felix is like, she's going to win on experience. She won't win as much on talent because as much as she is improving her marks, like you said, first time she's broken 50 in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be other women out there who potentially could run 49 low. And if there's multiple of that, it's hard for Felix to kind of break through to a top 3 finish.
I love that through every step of the way, you find a way to believe in Felix and then immediately be like, oh, I don't know. And then just every single time she proves you wrong. So it's only fitting that in her last Olympic final of her career that you go in with that mindset. Yeah, I think obviously there's a logjam, right? And you think,
Yeah.
okay, Miller Weibo has run 48 before, so she can get to the 48s. And if you're assuming that everybody else is going to be 49, well, they're all going to be stuck around somewhat similar times. So it is going to be very tight. What I saw from Felix though was her running very composed, her not straining too much. She got the big cue. So she looked in command in that race. So I think she still has more to give. I think she can get down to 49 mid, maybe even a little faster, and you just hope that for her that's enough for to medal, and that maybe some of these other people ran their best race in the semi. I think she knows exactly what she's doing. Um, yeah, we can pull up these clips of Gordon. Gordon finally admits he's wrong about Allison Felix. That was 1 month ago.
It was
So
1 month ago. Hey, I picked her.
we need to refresh that.
What? Show the FloTrack rankings. Where do I put her in the FloTrack rankings? I put her second. All right. So
Okay. All right.
I'm talking. I'm reacting. I can't just.
You're
I
talking
have
yourself
to.
out of it. Why are you talking yourself out of it? She looked fine.
Well, the Dominican Republic girl is running out of Paulino. She's scaring me.
Mm-hmm.
Hayes isn't running as well, so I'm like, all right, McPherson's running well, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's what I had. So the top 5 all are in the final, and that was the order
Yeah.
I had. I had Weibo, Felix, Hayes, McPherson, Paulino, but Paulino's running so much better than Hayes. So, but like
Mm-hmm.
I counted out Hayes too. Remember, I dunked on Hayes. So I was
Yep.
like, Hayes
Mm-hmm.
just ain't good. So everyone at Hayes and Felix, I both dunked on too much this regular season, and so I'm kind of trying to ask for. I'm trying to repent for my sins of dunking on them and put them 2-3 behind Miller Weibo. But now I'm being tempted to do it again because I see what McPherson's doing, I see what Paulino's doing, and I'm being tempted to go back to my bad ways. And it's hard. It's hard to live this world temptation free. It's just not possible. I'm tempted to do the dunking again. And so that's why I said if it's experience that matters most, Felix will medal. If it's current talent that matters most, then Felix won't medal. And I think that's a fair thing to say.
So Hayes, you mentioned, got through on time. Jonathan didn't qualify. So we're monitoring the US 4x4 situation, and it's still complicated, I think, because Muhammad and Mclaughlin and Athing Mo all made strong cases. And then you have now 2 American women in the final. I think if Felix wins it, it's going to be a clear decision. I still don't know what they're going to do with Mo. I'm almost positive Mcgee and Muhammad will do it because of how fast they ran in the 4 hurdles and the fact that they did it in 2019. But I just don't know what they'll do with Mo and how they'll look at that performance and compare it to others. But I think it's between
You're gonna
5
have
people
yeah,
for 4
yeah,
spots is what I think right now.
I agree, but they're gonna have a problem if Hayes beats Felix. Because if Hayes beats Felix, it would look
Yeah.
bad to take Felix but not Hayes. And if you
Yeah.
take both Hayes and Felix, then you
You have
gotta
to bump Mo.
remove you have to bump
Yeah, Mo. Yeah.
you can't bump Mo. Mo's the best, Mo's the fastest of them all. So you can't bump her.
No, I think they would bump Mo of if that was the order.
They would bump what's Travis, can you bring up current 400 meter times in the world?
I'm not saying she's not
I'm gonna
fat.
bring it up.
I'm saying what I think they're gonna do. I'm not saying what they should do.
So they would bump. She's literally the fastest American. She's run 49.57. That would be really wild to bump
Yeah.
the fastest American.
Yeah. I think
7th
that's what
fastest in the world.
yeah. I think they would. I think they would bump her before they bumped McLaughlin or Muhammad.
That makes no sense.
I
I
think
think you
that's what they
bump
would do.
Muhammad. Actually,
No,
you
because
should bump
she was
Felix, but
on
they
it
won't do
before.
that.
She was on it before, and she just ran 51.5 with hurdles. So I think you could make an assumption that she'd be faster, that she could run 49 faster than 49.5 over. I mean, on a
I
flat
mean, a
400,
thing
right?
Mo's split 48 seconds on a 4x4, so
Again, I'm not
this whole thing,
saying
yeah.
what I would do. I'm saying what I think they will do if they had to choose
Why would
between
they?
those three.
But why would
Because I think
they? They would just let like so. Well, how fast would a thing Mo have to run in an open four for them to not bump her?
I think it's more
That's
of
the
a
question.
experience. I think they look at it more as an experience thing than anything else. I mean, if she was
Experience 400. Come on.
if she was in the open four, if she was in the open four, it makes it easier. Again,
But
for
like,
the fifth
okay, if a
time,
thing Mo
I'm not saying
had
what
a,
I would do. I'm saying what I think they will do. I don't think they're going to
but
keep McLaughlin and Muhammad off the 4x4. I just
yeah,
don't
yeah,
see
yeah.
that happening.
I'm just asking you if
Yeah.
what would what would thing Mo's open PR need to be for them to do what you want them to do for them to like if a thing Mo had a 48.99 season's best, would they still
Yeah.
bump a thing Mo for Delilah? You think they would still do that? If
That
she
would
ran
be
48.99?
no, I think that would be enough.
Enough.
Yeah.
So that's the question. Like, how much faster would she need to have
But
been?
hold on. But you said bump her for Delilah. I think you'd still keep Delilah. I think you'd bump one of the 400-meter runners in that case.
You'd bump
Look,
Hayes.
Jamaica's running really well right through these heats. So again, I think that they'll be fine if they pick any four of those five. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out because they have the top end and they have the depth. But Jamaica's been running well, so they're gonna need, they don't have as big of a margin of error as I probably thought going into these championships because the Jamaican squad is looking sharp. So
NBA fan on YouTube just said, Kevin, you can't be this dumb, which is a great thing to say because it's always dunking on me. And for me to be able to have a negative
about
comment about
what?
you, it just feels good.
About I'm not
I don't know. I
saying
think it's about.
you're NBA fan, as a fellow NBA fan, you're arguing with what I think somebody else is going to do. You're not arguing with what I think should happen, NBA fan. Come on. We got to stick together, NBA fans. There's not that many of us out there. Like you really think that they're going to pull after what Muhammad and McLaughlin did. They're going to take them off the relay? No. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Well, I
They're
think
like
I can agree with that. But will they take? I think they would need to take. You're saying that they would choose Quinera Hayes and Allison Felix over a thing Mo, is what you're saying.
the situation that you proposed to me. You said if they had to choose two between those three non 400-meter runners, which two would they choose? And I said McLaughlin and Muhammad. And you, an NBA fan out there, are calling me dumb for saying that. And I'm saying that's just what I think they're going to do because they're going to build on what they have done in the past. And you're looking at two women who ran 51 mid in a 400 hurdle race. It's not like it's going to be a huge drop off in performance. And they'll probably
Let me
make the
change the
argument
question.
that Mo has time, next year and the year after, and year for that, she'll get to run a lot of 400s in her life, and blah blah blah.
Next, final two questions. If they had to choose between a thing Mo and silver and bronze medalist, no, if they had to choose between a thing Mo and silver medalist Quinera Hayes, who did they choose?
In this situation, what place does Felix get?
Third.
So that what you described there is the literal nightmare scenario. I think that's the literal nightmare scenario. Mo and Hayes, I think that they would go well, but in that situation, it should be between Hayes and Felix. It shouldn't be between Hayes and Mo. I think in that case they would go with a thing Mo in that case.
Okay. That's wild.
Wait,
Hey,
hold
Matt,
on. Wait,
sorry
wait,
a little
wait.
about the.
Hold on.
What?
Wait, you said if Hayes gets silver? and
if
Felix
Hayes gets
bronze?
second and Felix gets bronze, who are the two women that run with the 400-meter hurdlers?
Then this is really going to make you an NBA fan mad. Then yeah, I think Mo's not on it. Then I think they're going to go Felix and Hayes. They're going to put the silver and bronze medalist on it. Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do.
Not the gold medalists thing, Mo.
No, well, it's a 4x4. It's a 4x4. Again, everybody listening, I'm not saying that's what should be done. I'm predicting what will be done.
I know they say there's no I in team, but there is a 400 and an 800. So Mo should be in it.
That is true. And she's run a 400. She's run a 400. She's proven that she's a fast 400, which is again, this isn't one of those Gordon Mack things where he's like, hey, put a guy on the 4x4 who ran it once at an open meet and I do these calculations and they're fast. She actually put her money where her mouth is and ran some fast 400s this year, which I think should qualify her to be strongly considered, let alone doing all the math of like, well, a 155 converts to this and that. No, she actually ran a 400 and I think you should run it to be considered. She actually did that, which I think even strengthens her case, right? She ran a bunch of 400s this year. Mclaughlin and Muhammad didn't run a bunch of 400s this year. So I think she's got a really strong case, again, which is why I would have her on the team. But I'm not making the decision.
I think they should put Shamir Little on the team. That's what they should do. Let's find Shamir.
I think we might have lost the NBA fan. I'm worried about that.
All right.
Go.
We had some field event. Gold medalist decided. What events? I keep hard to keep track of events. I guess
Hammer.
Chris Nielsen.
Hammer.
Or no, Hammer.
Oh.
We already talked about pole vault. We talked about pole vault last time.
What do you...
It's all blown together. So hammer throw. I had money on Rudy Winkler medaling. He did not pull through for me, unfortunately, but it's okay. Not everything's about me. But we did see a surprise upset, I would say. Paul Faljak. This is bad. I'm saying names. I should stay out of this conversation. Saying European names. I'm not going to get it right. But the favorite was Powell from Poland. He finishes third, and his fellow countryman, Nowicki wins gold, the PB. It took 2 PBs to go 1-2. America goes 7th and 11th. But Poland, man, Eastern Europeans, they know, or just Europeans and Europeans in general, they know how to do these throw events. Right, from Ukraine, Poland, Norway. What is it about field events in Europe? What's in the water over there that makes them so good at throwing large objects and jumping far?
Well,
mainly
Norway,
really good throwing.
Norway and yeah, it's Norway's chucking the javelin pretty far. Too, you don't normally associate them with the hammer as much as you do with the longer throws, but Norway comes home with the silver here with Henriksen. Yeah, Poland 4 of the 6 medals between the women's and the men's hammer, so a big meet for them. Nowicki's series was crazy. He had so many throws over 82 meters. I know he took that intentional foul on the last throw, but I think that one was over 82 as well. So yeah, a chance here for the American, for Winkler to get a medal. I don't think people thought he was going to get a gold, but a chance for them to sneak out a medal. I redid my projections last night, and I had this was before the women's 400 hurdles, but that one went to form. I had the U.S. at 28 medals, and going in, I had them at 33. So it's dropped a bit with what's out there. I took some conservative estimates though on the way out. So they have a chance still to get to 30, but they could also drop, as low as 25 realistically, but they could still get to 30, which has always been the magic number.
I think we need to do a little update on my upcoming bets. I'm currently, I sent Travis an update of what I have coming up, but we've done now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 bets have gone in. So I bet $2,300 and I'm profit $422. So I'm still up. I'm not down yet. I'm up $422. And these are my upcoming bets. So put them on the screen. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing a parlay with the men's triple jump, some Pichardo to medal, shot put Kovacs to medal, and 110 hurdles Holloway for gold. I'm betting $300 on that parlay. And if that happens, I win $327. I'm doing plus 300 on Cherry medaling, which is, I don't know if that's going to happen, but Michael Cherry, put a lot of hope in there. I have plus 350 on Kendall Williams medaling in the heptathlon, and Garrett Scantling medaling in the decathlon. That's not looking good for me. I'm definitely going to lose those 2 bets. I'm already going to be out $200 there. And then a big one here, Chalimo medaling in the 5K. He told me to do it, so I'm doing it. He's plus 275. So I know I'm going to lose those 2 multi-events. So I'm up 422, but I'm going to be soon be only up 222. So I really need this 3-thing parlay. I need Chalimo to medal. I'm cutting it close. The closer I get to $0 profit, the more nervous I get.
You went really hard on the Americans here. I think in the beginning you didn't, and then now you've pivoted.
Yeah. It's more fun to like cheer for an American to medal. That's probably also a reason I'm doing it. Like, it felt weird. I bet on DeGrasse winning the 200. It felt weird. I was like, oh, okay.
Why'd it feel weird?
I won, so.
Why'd it feel weird? Yeah, well, I knew you were. You had the Austrian guy winning the discus medal. I knew that's when you were serious. You were locked in there. Now you're just throwing around bets to people you've talked to before. Your strategy is all off, I think.
Yeah, I just need this. I need this parlay to work out. I need the Pichardo, Kovacs, Holloway parlay. They all are working together. Kovacs didn't look good in the prelims of the shot, so I'm a little nervous about that. But Pichardo's going to medal. Kovacs should medal, and Holloway's going to win. So it's a no-brainer. Easy money, right? I keep telling myself. Anyway, I don't have a problem. I don't have a gambling problem. For those asking, Mom, if you're listening, I apologize. I do not have a gambling problem.
Cool.
That's it, man. Is that the pod?
That's it. That's the pod. FloTrack podcast at gmail.com. Send all hate mail to Gordon. There were a lot of bad opinions throughout this podcast. I support none of them, except about the U.S. Women's 4x4. That's the one I'll stand on. Same time. Again, tomorrow, more finals coming then. Thanks to Colt for producing. Thanks to Travis for producing. We will talk to you tomorrow.